y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Muriel. This is Nurse Muriel. To my oldies but goodies, how y'all doing? Hello to my new subscribers, y'all, welcome. For those who don't know, I'm Muriel. I'm a registered nurse, bachelor's prepared registered nurse. I am primarily a long-term care nurse, but I have dibble-dabbled in acute care, mainly med-surg. And with that being said, I prefer long-term care. Every now and then I'll see a video, something about nursing, and I'll just listen to it and I'll just be like, oh, that'll make a good topic. And this is a topic that I have talked about before, but I just want to talk about it again because, everybody got to have their own experience. A lot of people, you could, say things, but they have to go through it themselves. You got to have their own experience. And so I was watching a video of a YouTuber that I have been following for years. She's much younger than me. One of the first YouTubers that I actually found when I went back to school for my RN. I was an LPN for 18 years. When I went back for my RN, she was one of the first YouTubers that I found that were talking about nursing. And she made a video recently about her experience working in the hospital. She went from long-term care to the hospital, and I think it's hitting her now that you could be the best long-term care nurse. Like, you can be the best. You can you can think you have it all figured out, and like, I know long-term care like the back of my hand, even though I'm still learning things here and there, but I basically got long-term care down. But even having been in long-term care for all the years that I was in it. Now, mind you, when I got my first job as an LPN, it was in a hospital. I worked in the acute care setting, so I was familiar with a medical surgical setting, acute care setting, before I went into long-term care as a nurse. But once I got my RN and went into an acute care setting, even though I had at that point 18 years of experience as an LPN in a long-term care setting, that had no bearing on what I encountered when I went into the acute care setting. Acute care in the hospital and long-term care are two totally different worlds. You basically might as well go into acute care setting feeling like even if you were an RN forever and then you went into an acute care setting, leaving long-term care, going to acute care, you might as well say you a brand new RN as far as skill level, because it's a totally different world. It's a totally different stress level. I was a LPN and an RN in long-term care. I was like, I got to get out of long-term care. I got to get out of here. It was just like, I just felt like it was so much. And I think what it was with me was just the fact that I just wanted to try to do something different. I just wanted to do different. I felt like once I got my RN that I needed to utilize those skills that I should have been utilizing because I became an RN. And so I went into an acute care setting. Now, mind you, when I went into the acute care setting, I was 41. 40 or 41 once I got my RN and I went into acute care setting. And I just felt like I wasn't serving my purpose as an RN in long-term care. I just felt like I should have been doing more. And more to me was working in the hospital. So I took my little happy tail to them people hospital and that level 1 trauma center. And when I tell you, I stressed and I worked harder in that hospital than I did my whole 18 years as an LPN in long-term care. And I sat there and I struggled with it for a while because I felt like that's what I was supposed to be doing. Like, I felt like I was supposed to be in a hospital. I'm an RN. I should be in a hospital. I'm not really needed in the nursing home unless I'm in some type of management role or administrative role. I'm not needed in a nursing home, so I should be in the hospital. But as I sat there and I was miserable, y'all. I was miserable, and it felt like my body was breaking. Like, I used to have my feet, my ankles used to be so swole and so painful. I used to have to wear braces on my ankle because they would hurt so bad from working in the hospital. And it only happened when I worked in the hospital. It didn't happen when I worked in the nursing homes. And I just felt like, why? I just had to tell myself, girl, why are you putting yourself through this? Why are you doing this? At that time, it was COVID, the money was better in the nursing home. So that was that. At that time. Now the money is better in the hospital now, but the money was better in the nursing home. I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was walking into in the nursing home daily. It wasn't no surprises. I wasn't worrying about getting the most you're going to get in a nursing home is someone may code on you, or you may get an admission. But it was nothing to the point where it would stress the living daylights out of me like I was stressed in the hospital. And so I just went ahead, and once I was actually trying to stay and do my year. I was like, girl, you can at least do a year. I was trying to stay and do my year, but before my year got here, COVID hit, and that just changed the game for me. I was like, hell to the no. I am not about to sit here with that dawning and dolphin in between each patient and having to do everything for every patient because you were the only one allowed in the room being their nurse. I was like, okay, I got to get the hell up out of here, especially when I tried to transfer to another hospital. Well, that wasn't a level 1, but it was in the same in the same, how you say, it was the same hospital but a different location. It wasn't a level 1, and they couldn't bring me on because they had let so many nurses go because the census had dropped because they do a lot of elective surgeries there. And at the time of COVID, they weren't doing elective surgeries, so they didn't have as many patients. The census was low. They didn't have enough hours to even get the nurses they had. And I was like, I got to go. I'm not about to sit here. I would cry in the parking lot when I got to work because I did not want to go in there. And the journey to get on my floor was a long damn journey by itself. Like it took about 10 minutes to even get to the floor that I was working. But I just said, I got to go. I think I put a 2 weeks notice, and I don't think I gave 30 days. And I left, and I went back to long-term care. And when I got back to long-term care, it was like a welcome home in my spirit because I didn't work as hard in long-term care. I got my work done, but I didn't work as hard. When I needed my breaks, I got my breaks. Like it's so much less stress. I had stressful moments in long-term care, but it wasn't an everyday thing. And with me with the hospital, it was just about every day I was getting stressed, y'all. And so I did I stayed in long-term care for about a year and a half. After that, I did some traveling with it. And then, y'all, the money they were giving nurses in the hospital, it was just so good that I was like, girl, go ahead, go back, get you some more experience because I had been out for like a year and a half, and go get you one of these travel contracts because even though it's stressful, girl, the money, like they were paying. Like I had some classmates who were out making $10,000 a week. Some were making $7,000 a week. They were getting that money, and some of them hadn't even had a year experience as an RN. They were just taking them. I heard they were hiring new grad RNs to come take some of them contracts. So I went back day shift thinking, okay, well maybe if I'm not on nights, I won't be tired and stressed, and it won't be as much. So I went back day shift for about 5 or 6 months. And that was enough for me to apply for me a travel contract, and I got one. It was paying $4,500 a week. It wasn't too far away from my home, but it was far enough for me to qualify for the stipend. And so I did that for about 7 weeks. It was a 13-week contract, and I think I got about 7 weeks in, and there was a family complaint, and they let me go. But y'all, let me tell you, being back in that hospital setting, and then it wasn't even that bad at that hospital. Like the work wasn't as strenuous, but it was still a little stressful. Like it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad like when I was in that level 1. But I just feel like I don't like the feeling of being caged in, like you can't go nowhere, like you stuck in the building. And I work long-term care. If I need, like I said, if I want to step off the hall for like 5 minutes, go sit in my car, 10 minutes, go sit in my car, I can do that. If I need to run down the road and run to the store and stuff, I can do that. I don't have that luxury in the hospital. You don't have that luxury. Orders are steadily changing, like every 15 to 20 minutes on a patient. A patient can just go bad any second, running those not running codes, but actually, having patients cold and have to be there during a cold setting and stuff. That stress of it all, and then hearing them telemonitors, just because the facility I worked, there was, it was a tele floor, so people were on telemonitors, and the damn beeping, the telemonitor is all-site monitoring, but the floor did have tele, so the tele people calling you back to back. It was so much, aggravation. So And when I went back to long term care after I made that quick money in the acute care setting, even though they let me go at 7 weeks, I wasn't discouraged, y'all, because like week 4, I was already thinking, I wonder if I can change this to an 8-week contract. But and then I tried looking for another contract that was, paying pretty decent, but it didn't have to be all that. It could have been like $3,000, after taxes or whatever. I probably would have cleared like 27. And they weren't paying that. They weren't really paying that anymore. The rates had dropped. So I was like, let me go ahead back to long-term care, because at that time the rates for long-term care nurses had increased for RNs to like $60, $70 an hour. And I was like, well, shoot, I can make over $2,000 right here locally and be good. So I went back to long-term care, and I've been in long-term care since. And let me tell y'all, there's not a day that goes by that I miss working in acute care setting. I see these contracts and where they're paying nurses now. The rates are so now. You might find some good ones, you might find some bad ones, but the rates are running like say around $2,500 to $4,000 for med surg. Nothing attracts me. I'm not attracted to none of them no more. I'm not attracted to anything dealing with the hospital setting at all. I'm just as content in my long-term care. Y'all, I'm not learning anything new. I'm not utilizing my bachelor's degree. But I'm just content being where I am. If I make any, I have thought about something in like education, but y'all know I have started my own business. I'm just content in long-term care as far as doing the work. Now, mind you, I'm like already 1 foot in, 1 foot out the door. 1 foot in and 1 foot out the door with nursing, period. Like, I'm down to working 2 days a week. I could replace those 2 days and probably put 2 days into my trash business. I would do it, but y'all, I ain't getting out there in this heat and doing no trash. Like, I don't mind. Like, I can drive, and I can drive, get a truck, and I can drive and have my boys do the trash. Because if I can pick up like 2 days in the trash, doing like 2 more days in the trash business, I can replace the money I make in nurse easily. Because I've turned down so many people because we don't service their area, even though they're in the county that I service. What you can learn in long-term care, you can basically kick that out the window. The only thing that you probably will utilize from long-term care and acute care is knowing the medications, and that's about it. Outside of that, it's a totally different world in the hospital. Like, you could, like I said, you could be the best long-term care nurse. When you roll up in that hospital, it's a whole nother ball game. You might as well consider yourself a fresh RN. Now, is some nurses, I think they're just built for acute care, because I don't understand how that stuff don't stress them out. And I was thinking maybe it's because I'm older and I'm a little heavier, and I just don't have time for the BS. Out of that, y'all, just know if you're going for long-term care to a hospital setting, it ain't the same. It is not the same. And I was one of those ones that just felt like long-term care, I wasn't where I was supposed to be as an RN. What's the use of me being here? But let me tell you, at where I am in my life, where I just want to be stress-free, I just want to be at peace. I don't want to have to go home and worrying about this and that and the third. Like, long-term care is for me, honey. All them residents want is to be dry. They want to have some clean clothes on. They want their 3 meals a day. They want to drink their coffee. Long as you got, the worst thing they might complain about is the food being cold and the coffee being cold. Outside of that, they just want to live their normal, relax, and live their lives. And I'm all here for it. And that's all I want to. And guess what? When the paycheck hit, the paycheck be looking real nice. So, and that's my main concern right now. It ain't even about learning no new skills. I'm 46 years old. I don't need to learn no new skills in nursing, honey. I don't need to learn no new skills. That all I needed that RN behind my name for was for the extra dollars that I'm making as an RN. I don't need to learn no new skills. What I know is enough, more than enough for me to work in a long-term care setting. Now, I will say working in the hospital has made me a better long-term care nurse, because I know more signs and symptoms to look for, and I know more corrective actions for certain disease processes and acute changes. But I don't need the hospital setting to feel worthy for my BSNRN at all, in the least. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll try to come back with another one. It's been like hit and go with me. I'm trying to get me a new phone with a better camera, because these things be looking real fuzzy. But I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.